What's going on, guys? Video number two of this 3 video series. I'm going to be talking more about a strategy, more about data, artist research, all that sort of good stuff. So, all right, artist research. Now, I'm kind of learning as I go. This is not the be all. This is not how it is. This is what I have learned. So take it all with a grain of salt because there is no one way to do this. I may be completely wrong with my strategy and analysis, but thus far it seems to be proving okay. So I kind of categorize the NFT art space into 2 categories. One is for the true collectors, and I feel like the true collectors go for the one-of-one single edition pieces. Those are the ones that you're going to get stupid amount of money thrown at you to own because they are the true collector pieces. There's only one of them that represent that specific time. So for example, if you go to Nifty Gateway, you notice that Ferocious recently had those are open editions. So if you see the single ones, you can see each of these artists. Parrotism had, a one-of-one sale, $47,000. Obviously they're paying a lot more than the other ones now. Jonathan Wolf had one, 55,000. Ferocious went a little bit crazy at 550,000. I think there was some sound behind that. But the reality is that these single edition pieces, they're the ones that sell for stupid amounts of money. We all know the Beeple one that sold for $6.6 million. Yeah, I know, hey, crazy. I think it was this one. 6.6 million from $66,000. So the single edition pieces, they're the ones that, like, if Beyonce or like Kanye West or like, I don't know, Chamath comes in, he'd want to own a single edition. Now a single edition are the ones that if you own them, it's a freaking cool thing, right? So if you own single editions from popular artists, then eventually they become quite unattainable. Like, for example, at $66,000, all right, Beeple would probably be, some people can afford that. It's 6.6 million or in the millions. Suddenly it's become like a hobby of the rich, right? Only the rich people can kind of afford it now. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things. So you can go out there and find artists that you think are going to do really well. You can go look at the artists based on the person, their personality. If you go to Ferocious, I remember, when I first bought my pieces from Ferocious, he made a video like this.
And this is a painting I made, and it sold. This painting sold for $3,200. $3,000. That's like, he got 3 own.
So about 3 NFTs for like a couple of $1,000s each. And back then it was like, it wasn't that expensive, but I saw Ferocious. I was like, all right, surely this artist is going to continue to grow if he continues to make videos like this. Like, this is great marketing. Or just awareness, right? Ferocious wasn't doing this to market. It was just doing this for fun and hype and just organic. And it was just nice to see completely lovable, beautiful art. Like the one-of-ones back then were available. And then as the social media channels grow, as the awareness for Ferocious's art grows, as people want to get more of Ferocious's pieces, the one-on-ones start to become quite unattainable, and I think they start to accelerate at a faster pace as really, rich people come and want to buy them. So you can go there and do some research to yourself if you like the artist, if you like their personality, if you like what they represent, if you like the community that their art kind of appeals to, the collectors after them. If you can kind of see future growth. So if the artist, if you think about this space, these artists are going to go on to have millions of followers. When they have millions of followers across multiple channels and talking about art, the demand coming in to buy these art pieces are going to be insane. They're going to be insane. So like the trajectory that these artists will take when they do that. Now, there's different ways. So Boss Logic and other artists that are coming into the scene that already have a huge collector base. And I think that's really interesting because they're coming in, they already have a massive collector base, and their collector base will continue to learn about art or NFT collecting in time. Probably within a year, they're all going to know what's going on here. So that being said, I think it's going to be really cool. Like, that's also an interesting play too, because there's some big, and I'm not talking about anyone that comes here with just a big Instagram following, etc. Because I actually really appreciate artists that have been at it for a long time, artists that have been at it for years, whether they've been doing it from the age of 5. That's what I value. I value people, and you can see that in their art. People that are just coming here throwing their fame around, that's a different scenario. People coming here with a big social media following, or at least mass awareness, I think will do really well. So that's another indicator is trying to get in early. But if you go to Super Rare, guys, if you go to cryptoartpulse.com, which is my website, and you kind of go to Super Rare, and Super Rare editions are all one of one, right? Now, one of one editions, you can see all the artists out there that are selling, right? 7:20 a.m. So it's currently 1 p.m. So this, for some reason, this website's 5 hours behind or 6 hours behind when it comes to Super Rare, the Maker's Place, etc. It seems to pull in Nifty Gateway, okay, but the other stuff it kind of delays for a bit for some reason. But that being said, you can see there are artists that have there's a lot of artists that are selling one-on-one editions. It's not like just the top artists. And there's a space like 1,000Xs in terms of collector base. They're all going to go for different artists, right? That's just how it is. So as the artists continue to grow, and you can see they're all quite successful. So you can go to Super Rare, you can do individual research on these. You can, who is the artist? Do you like what they represent? Do you like their art? Do you like their style? Do you like the growth of their social awareness, the way they market themselves, or at least grow themselves? Do you like the dedication to art? All of these questions kind of come to your mind. And I think a really good strategy that I learned from some previous kind of not tutorials, but some videos on YouTube was to have a very spread portfolio. Because if you have, say, 50 to 100 artists in your portfolio, ideally you want hundreds of them, right? Then you're exposed to multiple industries, and one artist does really good, the other artist does even better. All their art is amazing, of course, but I'm talking about, like, as their collector base increases, you're exposed to multiple artists and their industry. So a part of my strategy is just accumulating art that I love from artists that I think are going to do really well, and I continue to spread some wealth across single editions, because if they do really well, then my art and my collection goes up pretty well. So I think having a spread portfolio is the way. Now, how do you kind of invest with $100, $200, $500 or $1,000? I think in the art space, the less you spend, the more you're kind of, I don't know, I feel like the less you spend, it's hard right now because Ethereum is already so expensive. Like, you'll have to look for art that is cheap, and art isn't cheap anymore, or at least not much of it. So you can kind of go for an open edition. So Nifty Gateway does open editions that we all know very well. So their drops, I think they had, let's see, so Space Yacht did a drop. Any cheap open edition? So this one was a cheaper open editions of $500 each. So you can go for open editions. So now let's talk about the subject of open editions. Open editions are a different investment strategy. So single editions for me are a way to expose myself to the collector base of certain artists that I think will continue to grow. Now, open editions are kind of collector, but there's definitely a lot of freaking speculators in there. In fact, I want to bring your attention, guys, to this little squiggly graph that I did. But basically, when an open edition happens, and just to kind of give you guys show you guys what an open edition is, we can kind of go to, I think Trevor Jones did one recently. I think they all do open editions these days. No, Trevor Andrew, sorry, Trevor Jones. I was like, what? What's this ghost thing? Okay, so this one, Bitcoin Angel. On sale. Highest price, lowest price. $2,400 is the lowest price. So you can see that at the start, these were sold for $777. I think this was like less than a couple of weeks ago. This wasn't too long ago. I think it's only been like 10 days, if not less. But you can see this was sold for $777. So if you know Trevor Jones, you know he's been here for a while, right? You know that in 2020, Trevor Jones broke like multiple records, did really well. His art, paintings about Bitcoin and crypto resonate with a lot of people. He has a lot of collectors, and definitely a big deal. So you know that Trevor's been here for a while. He's going to continue to grow his career. He's going to be an iconic figure in the space because he was a big part of the history. Then he made this open edition which had 4,157 pieces. I think that's like 3.5 million all up. Okay, but what happens with these open editions is that people jump in and they buy like 3 to 5 of them each, and they buy them because they want to flip them. So if everyone's flipping at the same time, what happens is this, like, it's stuck at $500, and there's some, I just put a $500 here, but let's pretend Trevor Jones sold it at $500 a piece. You got people trying to flip it at 600, 500, and then they get impatient and then they just sell it for 450. And you get some time, like the first 3 to 4 days, maybe a week, there's a lot of this going on. And then somewhere down the line, you can kind of see, if you go to Crypto Art Pulse again, you go all platforms and you go Trevor Jones. So this is this website I kind of made for myself because I freaking need data. I love data. Data tells me when and what to invest in. But you can see here, if you search Trevor Jones, you can see like, you know, you kind of keep dialing it back. We're on March 7th, March 6th, March 5th. And you can see like, man, like just 3 to 4 days ago, these were selling for $1,400. But look at the buy volume. Literally every 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, there's like 3 to 4 sales. So imagine if these sales continue. If every day there's like 50 to 100 sales of people buying these. Now you go to Nifty Gateway and you check these out. Imagine every day, you know, another 10 to 20 of these sales keep happening. Well, naturally, the floor is going to get eaten up, right? Naturally, it's going to get eaten up. So what I like to look for, and again, this is pure investor brain talking, and I want to separate and make sure that you guys know that, hey, I love art, but I'm talking about investing right now. That being said, I like, you know, I wait till the speculators are out there and they stop dumping and there's enough, the buy volume keeps coming up and there's an idea that this will continue to appreciate. So I bought like quite a lot of these at about $1,200 or $1,400 a piece. Okay, I double paid, but at least I was able to finish. I didn't participate in the drop, but at least after the drop, I was able to assess what's a good buy. And this goes on to be $10,000 a piece. If it does, do I care if I picked it up for $777 or $1,500? No, I don't care. I care about knowing when to enter and what to enter, what's iconic, and where does this fit in the artist's collection and his spot. Because I think Trevor Jones doesn't have many multi-edition pieces. In fact, previous to this, he's got this drop, which I believe are all one-of-one editions. I think these are all one-of-one editions. So for 42,000, 33,000. Okay. Picasso's Bull, which was very iconic. This had some multi-editions, like this edition of 1, edition of 3, edition of 25. But these, man, last time this sold was for like $20,000 or something. But yeah, there's no multi-editions from Trevor Jones. So if Trevor Jones, people want to collect Trevor Jones art, what's there for them to buy? It's this. So I think the demand will continue because 1 is Trevor Jones, 2, there's not many art to collect. If you want to buy Trevor Jones in the right price range, 3, he's going to continue being here and doing big things. And I like, you know, I like his art, and I think many others like his art, and I see the buyer volume coming in with Crypto Art Pulse. So that rationale allows me to invest at that point. So again, like with that, I kind of applied it to many others, and I think Ferocious's drop was another case that I kind of applied the same strategy to. So again, lowest price is, I think this one, you can't buy it. I think it's a glitch or something. Yeah, it's a glitch. But the cheapest price right now is $2,200. Now I bought some for $1,300, right? I missed it at $1,100, but that's okay. I don't mind missing it because again, I'm happy to pay a premium if it allows me to assess where in this life cycle we are going to get. So the circle is kind of when I get in. I get in around here. And I get into, ideally, this trajectory. And some of the artists kind of follow this trajectory, and I kind of know the other ones that come in, do a big drop, okay, great, and probably disappear forever, right? They don't come in and do anything else because they just wanted the money, and now they're out, okay, great. But those that are here for a while, I like to kind of assess when the artist drops. I like to assess whether they're here for a while, whether they're going to continue, whether they're minting more soon, etc., etc. And that's when I kind of get in. So Ferocious is another great example. Obviously, someone is going to have desirable art, all that sort of stuff. And so, you know, again, I entered when I entered, and if, you search Ferocious here, you can kind of see the demand continuing. What are we, 7:15 a.m. so you can see like a sale almost every half an hour to an hour, which is great. I like to see that. I like to see continuous volume coming in, because that means liquidity. And you can see that the price will probably continue to increase if even half of that buyer volume continues, right? What are we, 4 or 5 pages? So give it like a week or 2 weeks and suddenly you're probably looking at $10,000 a piece. Okay, let's just be conservative and say a month down the line. But you know your price is going to appreciate. Your art collection is going to appreciate. So that's kind of how I invest. And there's going to be thousands and thousands of drops out there. And if you invest in every single one of them, then I don't know if that's a good thing, just because some of these will stay, some of these won't. So I know Steve Aoki, I'm just gonna say Oki. Hopefully I am saying that right. Big artist came in, dropped these, $2,500 a piece. Highest bid, last sold for $2,000 a piece. You can see original listing was 2.5K. And there's a lot of speculators that are probably trying to dump it back for 2.5K because they want to run to the crypto markets. I know. And that's why I don't like, it's basically how much of that demographic at the time of buying or participating in the drop were speculators and how much of them are actual collectors. Basically, I'm trying to enter when the speculators have moved out and it's just collectors, because collectors don't sell easily. And when they're not selling easily, there's less sell pressure. And when there's less sell pressure, but there's buy pressure, then price goes up, right? So that's my psychology with this stuff. And so I kind of hang around, and again, I can come in and buy these now. It looks like, so again, like how many of these were minted? I need to figure out how many of these were minted, right? 199 of them. That's a lot. And 2.5K a piece is a lot. So, you know, I don't know how. I need to do my research on the artist. I need to see if they're going to have more collaborations, if they're going to continue to do more things in the space. But if that all checks out, again, I missed the drop, and that's fine. I can miss the drop, but I can come in and see and make a more sound decision after the drop has finished. This one was $5,000 a piece, and you can see people are selling it for 5, 5.5, 6, 65 of these. The good thing is, like, as soon as that first page is eaten up, then suddenly it gets to 10 to 12K. So yeah, that's interesting. So I kind of wait and see how, like, Ferocious has probably done multiple drops, is doing multiple collabs with other projects, probably doing some merchandise collabs, etc., etc. And I like to also see the iconic, like how iconic the drop was. So for example, now I know I keep using Ferocious as an example only because I know that artist very well. Like, I'm always keeping an eye on what's going on. So if you go to the open editions of the shoe drop, for me, this shoe drop is probably a longer term game. But I remember, I think $3.5 million or something was sold. And if that's the case, then this was, I think, the largest merch drop in that time frame. So if Ferocious goes on to do more collabs, then I feel like this will be the iconic collab that started off the whole merch art thing with Ferocious. And if that's the case, then these should go up. So, you know, I bought a lot for those that know. And yeah, that's the idea there. And the kind of supply isn't too bad. I think it's like 400 supply for all the shoes. So there's only 55 of these for sale. The epic shoes, there's only like 44 of those for sale. Legendary shoes, there's only 28 of those for sale. So in again, like, all right, let's go to cryptoartpulse.com. Artifact, no, shoes. So I like to see the buyer volume. Okay, March 8th, 3 bought there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cool, 9 bought there. Are they different collectors? Looks like it's the same collector bought all of these. Jeff. Okay, I like to see a spread of collectors or buyers, and yeah, consistent buy volume. So what do you think is going to happen in a week or two from now when people want those shoes, but there's just none available, right? So that's what I like to see: consistent buy volume, and then those being sold over time. All right, so that is kind of my strategy. Have I gone through a lot? Drops versus one-of-ones, data, cryptocurrencies, B20, blah blah blah, graph. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's it. And this is the second video, so in the third video I'll go through a little bit more of a macro strategy. But you know, we're taking a risk right here. We are playing with what could possibly be the largest industry ever or the biggest bubble ever. But based on what I think, my intuition is it's going to be a freaking huge deal. People like to flaunt digitally. People like to collect. Artists make good art. There's merchandise involved. There's NFTs and investor communities along with collector and art communities involved. It has everything. It checks every box that I'm passionate about myself. Got big people getting involved like Gary Vee. Mark Cuban is in there investing on companies. Like, it seems like smart minds are getting behind this. So based on those assumptions, I'm making my moves. All right, guys, that's it for this video. And we'll see you guys in the next video.